How is it going, everybody? This is the Dell Do-It-Yourself channel coming at you with another video. So, as you know, I've been playing Starfield the past couple of weeks, and I'm proud to say I'm 30 hours in. And to be honest, I was excited going into it, but I think my expectations have definitely leveled off. My expectations have definitely leveled off with seeing more of the game now, seeing how it actually plays, minute-to-minute exploration. So I have a list of things that I like and dislike about Starfield from someone with 30 hours in, and this will give you a little overall introduction to Starfield, and of course, minor spoilers for mechanics. I'm not going to go too heavy into the plot yet, so that'll be for another video. Alright, so what I like so far? Auto-saving. It's very convenient. You don't have to click the save button super often. So auto-saving usually happens when there aren't any enemies around, or there's a duration. It'll usually just save at convenient points during your exploration. So usually if you go from one planet to another, it'll save at least once, or if you go from one building to another, it usually auto saves, and it also auto saves at the end of quests usually, which I found really interesting. Being able to track resources, so that I found really handy for exploring in the world. So you can track resources in game by, the easiest way I found to do it is in the research lab, which you can build at your outpost. You can go to a project that you are researching, click track materials, or you can track a single material by pressing the track button in game, and then it'll put a blue magnifying glass next to that item. And when you walk around in the world, when you look at that item that you marked to track, it'll have that blue magnifying glass. So it reminds you, oh, I was looking for this, I should pick it up. And with there being so many different resources in the game, so many things to pick up and interact with, it's definitely a helpful feature when exploring. Like if I need iron, I can mark it as something to track, and in general the game makes it very easy to at least find materials, because you can scan planets and it shows what resources are on that planet. So really neat little tool. Plot, super straightforward, super easy to understand. You're collecting artifacts, you're collecting pieces of a puzzle, a mysterious long lost ancient piece of technology that the game gradually fleshes out into what its purpose is, what it was used for, who created it. Next thing on the list, there's lots of places to see. There's so many planets, there's so many moons, there's so many star systems that you can pick a point on any of those planets and land there. There will usually always be there'll always be an outpost or a new city to explore, with characters to interact with, things to do, quests to complete. So far my favorites have been the Mass District and Neon, the city of Neon. Yeah, Neon is more like a cyberpunk sort of, yeah, it's a very, well, I like Neon's aesthetic a lot personally. It's yeah, I like Neon's aesthetic. Outpost building, when I discovered this, I was like, oh man, so this is what I'm collecting resources for. There's lots of different buildings that you can build. You can extract materials from resources around you. You can have multiple outposts linked on different planets. You can have storage units. You can have all of these different all of these different machines and factories and crafting benches that you can craft pretty much everything you'd want in the game. And then what's really cool about it is you can, in your outpost building mode, you can switch perspectives from from your first person view to a bird's eye view. So you're looking down at your base, which makes it a lot easier to place really big objects. Like I built a landing pad for my ship that I could land on and come into my base with. So it's very useful for just being able to just get a larger view of your base. And the skills to choose from, oh my gosh, there's so many different build opportunities. So personally, I've been specializing in med kits. I specialized in geology and wellness for the health benefits, and medkit. I specialized in the medkit and wellness trait, in the wellness skills. So medkits and trauma packs heal me faster and heal a larger percentage of my health, and wellness gives your character increased health. I had mentioned in one of my earlier videos that there's 5 different categories of skills you can choose from, and the more levels you unlock at lower levels in the tree gives you access to more advanced skills in that skills category. And I'm thinking of specializing in the science and tech trees, because there's a whole lot of cool things. Or actually, the social and science trees. So, getting into dislikes, lots of loading screens. We all know it, we've all seen it. When you take off from a planet, there's a loading screen. When you land on a planet, there's a loading screen. When you go into a building, there's a loading screen. When you whether it's fast traveling or warping, there's loading screens. Even if it's places you've been before, and with Starfield being as big as it is, I must say there's a huge reliance on being able to fast travel. There's no way to get around a galaxy as big as Starfield's without being able to say, okay, I need to go here really quick, and you just go. And while it is fast, even though the load times are only 3 to 4 seconds for my system at least, that can add up over possibly hundreds of hours of playtime. And after noticing this, I really couldn't ignore it. So the temples for acquiring your spooky space powers are all the same, which I was a little annoyed by, because the powers don't... Well, I guess I can get into the whole dialogue about powers, but when you go, in order to unlock a power, it's literally the same thing. Bethesda didn't add any puzzles for you to do in the temple, enemies to kill to unlock it. They don't even have you test your power in the temple. They just say, hey, here's your power, here's some XP, have fun with it. And kind of going off of that, the game doesn't encourage you to use your powers in combat. The gunplay and power and using your powers can be kept completely separately if you don't bother investing into it. You also have to manually swap between your powers, since you can only have one power mapped to you can only have one power mapped to a button at one time. So by pressing, you'd have to press Z to use one power, then toggle it in the power screen, and then change your power to be able to use it, which I find a little clunky. And the last thing, the starter ship is horrendous in combat if you're up against more than 2 or 3 ships. Even ships at lower levels can decimate you just in numbers. I upgraded my shield drive, I upgraded my grav drive and my engines. I found I was still having problems in combat, just surviving. I feel like the starter ship could be made a little more tanky and be a little more forgiving against multiple foes. I'm not sure how you would balance that, but I guess I think for the new player experience that would need to be improved in order to make ship combat engaging, because it's a big turnoff when you start the game and then only a couple hours in your playthrough you're against you're against enemies that you have no chance of beating. Alright, and that was my list of likes and dislikes for 30 hours in Starfield. I'm probably going to put some gameplay over this, trying to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. I recorded some gameplay in both in space and on the ground, so fighting different enemies. So anyway, this has been the Starfield. This has been my review of Starfield so far. See you guys later.